My name is Robin. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and a board certified art therapist with Gilda's Club Evansville. Today I want to talk to you guys about a good activity to do with kids. So this activity involves a lot of things that are already found in your home, and I'm going to show you how to make some coffee filter flowers using coffee filters, markers, construction paper, and tape. And this is especially a good one for Mother's Day coming up. So you can have kids make a bouquet of flowers for their mom. It's just a really fun activity that kids like to do, and then bonus that the mom gets something cool out of it too. So is what you're going to start off with is a coffee filter. And if you don't have a coffee filter, you can even use like tissue paper if you have that, and just cut like a little bit of tissue paper about the size of a coffee filter or a paper plate, and that'll work too. But I'm going to start you off with the coffee filter first. So just take some washable markers. You're going to take your coffee filter, and I usually have kids put like a paper plate underneath it because otherwise it'll bleed through and get all over the table. So if you just put a paper plate underneath the coffee filter, then that really helps out quite a bit. So have the kids just fill the whole coffee filter up with colors, as much as they want, whatever colors they want the flower to look like. And so you don't have to cover in all the gaps, as long as you've got quite a bit of color on there, it'll still work. And if you happen to have Sharpies, another thing you can have the kids do is take a Sharpie and write on their coffee filter, and they can write like, "I love you, Mom," or decorate it, do all kinds of cool stuff with it. And once they have that done, this is probably the favorite part for kids when they get to do that, is you take a squirt bottle with water, and you just take your coffee filter, leaving it on the plate, and you squirt some water, and the colors kind of start to kind of fade into each other, and it almost looks like a tie-dye effect. So just fill it up with water until you kind of have that faded color all over. And if you get it too wet, it's going to take it quite a while to dry. So I always caution people not to get too much water on these. But any decorations or anything you wrote with Sharpies will stay, so like you can still see what you wrote. And then anything with the washable markers is going to fade and blend into each other. And so after you have the kids do that, then you can work on making like the stem of your flowers. So while you let that dry, and if they get a lot of water on there, it might take a little bit to dry. But I just took like a piece of construction paper and cut it in half, and I rolled it up, and you just put a little bit of tape on there, and then that's how you get your stem. You can also use, like if you have straws, you can have straws be the stem. If you have just regular paper, you can have the kids color it green, and that can be the stem. And you can use any number of things. So after you do that, you can also make some leaves to go on it. And so for that, I just kind of cut some leaf shapes out, and you can use tape or glue for this too. And so you just kind of tape it on the stem, and then you can kind of like fold it down, and that'll give you like a nice little leaf. And so after your coffee filter dries, and I have a few here that are already dry, that I'm going to show you how to make the actual flower part of it. And so there's a few different ways you can do it, depending on how much time you want to spend on this. But you can just take it and kind of get the middle of the coffee filter and kind of crumble the edges around, and that's one way to do it. And then you can kind of twist and tape this very end of it right here, and then you can tape that into your stem, and that could be one kind of flower that you can do. If you want it to be a little more complicated, you can also do like a few different layers of that. So when you have that first one put on, you can then take another one right after that and kind of twist it around, and then you can keep doing as many layers as you want. And then so you can keep twisting, and then you could tape that part and then put that on and also make a little bit fuller of a flower. If you want to do, say, a little bit different of a flower, like a rose, you can take your coffee filter and just kind of fold it in half like this. And then you just kind of start where you start folding it up, and then you start rolling it so it starts to look a little bit like a rose. And so you roll that around, and then you can tape it. And then you can take your next coffee filter and you can start to do the same thing. You fold it in half, and then you start to roll this one around. And then if you want, depending on how thick you want it, you can keep going more and more with those layers. And you just keep kind of wrapping it around. And that's how you start to get like a rose looking one. And then if you don't have coffee filters, if you're not a coffee drinker, you can also use tissue paper and just do the same kind of thing. You can either just kind of crumble it up and pinch the middle. And then there's your flower that you could put on there. Or you can keep adding layers to it. You can do different colors if you want for each layer. You can experiment with different kind of folds, different kinds of crumbles, and just see what kind of flower looks good and what kind that you like. And so if you want a really full one, then you're going to have the kids do a lot more of the coffee filters or tissue paper. And then if you like just kind of like one, you can do that too. And then when you're all done, you'll have like a whole bouquet of flowers that the kids made for you. So this is just kind of a fun one. Kids really like to see that tie-dye effect of the markers as it fades into each other. And then it's really cool once they have like the whole flowers and the bouquet at the very end. So I hope this is a fun one that you guys can try out. Thanks for watching.